Hi, this is Tony, designer and creator of Fano Quest Cards. In this video, I'll cover the basic layout of Fano Quest Cards and how one can quickly jump in and begin using these cards. So to start, each deck consists of your standard 52 poker card deck with your standard 4 suits and 2 jokers. So each suit is related to a certain sub-theme of the overall theme of the deck. And in this case, this is a fantasy-themed deck. So I'll quickly go through the suits and kind of what they represent. So here we have the clubs, and I have it as AF down here, which stands for Adventure Fantasy. So this is kind of your basic fantasy with dragons, mystics, lupus of wolves, serpents, phoenixes. The next suit I have is spades, and here I have as high fantasy, so you can think of like Lord of the Rings with like wizards, dark lords, elven lords, orcs. The hearts I have as DF for dark fantasy, so barbarians, the undead, banshees, clairvoyants, necromancers. And the final suit, diamonds, I have as CF for creature fantasy. So anything related to creatures such as lizard folk, spriggans, vampire lords, merfolk, and such fun things. Additionally, I have these 2 jokers, which are super important as they provide your lore and skirmish encounters. Additionally, they have tables to roll on, such as a type of NPC quest, so fetch, escort, rescue, defend, capture, investigate. And I also have a yes and no oracle based on the value of the card. So, 2 through 10s, Jack, Q, King, and Ace. And so let's start with what each card composes of. So there's 2 types of cards per theme, I guess. So the first one you have is a creature, and the second one you have is like a character card. And so I'll jump into the creature card as they don't really have too many differences between the creature and the character. And so the first thing you'll notice is, of course, the dragon. So there's an image, the name, and kind of 3 descriptions. For creature cards, I provide an additional creature it can be. So if you don't want to deal with dragons, you can say, oh, wyverns, or anything else. Basically, you have your suit value. Each card has a dice there to represent a dice roll. Here I have something called your Fano 7 values, which for creatures are elemental values such as wind, storm, and water. And here you have your Fano 13 values, so there's 4 of them per card, and they're related to things that are connected, such as armor, diadem, weapons, songs. And so I'll explain further in this video how these items or these values can connect. Additionally, you have down here, you have your noun, noun's right there, verb, adjective, noun. So defend an ancient deity. Maybe that's what your quest is related to, is defending something, an old god that you may have worshipped before. Additionally, you have a boon and bane that you could gain or that you could use. So a boon could be, oh, you gain fortune. A bane could be maybe you lose spirit or you lose courage. Of course, each creature also has something up here, such as their type, so mythical. So if you want to deal with a mythical dragon or deal with a mythical creature, and you draw this card, that kind of shows that. Up here you have a setting, so a village or environment. And then what's really important about these cards is the orientation. So of course the top of the card here I call north, east, the bottom south, and the left west. As you see on each side I have these things called skirmish and lore encounters. So they'll either say skirmish or lore. And in this case some of them will have lore and skirmish on the west side, which could be either or. And I'll explain further, but basically if they line up in any way, so example this usurper card and dragon, see the skirmishes line up. So then you roll on the Joker skirmish table that I have and identify what kind of skirmish you might have to kind of add to your story or your character. Additionally, we have down here, I've got names that you can use for your setting. So I've got kind of a descriptor like kindled, and then kind of have a place like domain. And let's say you have these 2 cards right next to each other. You can have a Kingslayer domain or a kindled watch. That's kind of how you add or kind of combine them in congruency. And so that's the basic of the creature card. The character card is very similar, except instead of a type of creature, it kind of has a skill. So these skills are heavily based in D&D. So you have your strength, your constitution, wisdom, intelligence, charisma, all of that. And then instead of having an additional maybe example of what could replace usurper, I just put 3 descriptors. So when you think of an usurper, you think of justice, rebel, supremacy. And so these descriptors are there just for you to kind of add flavor to your own quest or your character, or maybe to add something else that can inspire you. And so that's kind of the basic of the card itself. And again, orientation is super important. And so right now, I'm going to quickly go into a 3-card layout design. Let's say that you want to create a character just based in general fantasy, and so you decide to use this adventure fantasy deck or the clubs. And in this case, I have sleeved all of my cards, and I just put them in under different colored sleeves just for my own benefit. But when you print out print and play, you can do it whatever you want. You can put them on the same color. Again, the suit will tell you what type it is. Otherwise, down in this bottom left corner here, west corner, you'll have kind of what it says as AF. And so I'm just going to shuffle this and randomly lay out 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. And again, orientation is really important, so we'll put it like that. And so let's say I'm trying to create a character's backstory. So here I've got a serpent, I've got a hunter, and I've got a merchant. Okay, so let's say that I was related to a hunter, or maybe my background, my clan, or my lineage comes down from hunters, and we had this encounter with this serpent that has been kind of terrorizing my village and is really strong, and this village kind of relies on me and my clan or my family to kind of defeat this thing. And if we look at the Fano 13 values, so these 4 at the bottom, you'll see that there's always a connection between each card. And here, in this case, I have a talisman and talisman. And so, if we bring it closer to kind of see what are some adjectives or verbs or nouns we can use: identify, captivating strife, conjure, extravagant adventure. Let's see what the merchant card says. It has enhance, bizarre deed. So maybe what I want to do is, let's say, conjure, captivating deed. And so my goal, my character, player character, is maybe the goal is to conjure captivating deed. So maybe to slay this serpent of immortality that's been kind of terrorizing our village. And so here, let's think, here are some words: Elder Cove. Maybe this serpent lives in a place called Ivory Cove, and the village is located in Elder Glen, so that's probably where we are being terrorized. And so maybe what we need is this talisman, since these 2 are connected by talisman. And that will greatly help me in my journey of defeating this immortal serpent. And what connects me is this merchant here. And so maybe I have to go seek this merchant in the mountains. And this merchant will provide me with, maybe if I do a bounty for, right here, a bounty for this merchant will give me coin and maybe give me some insight into how to deal with this serpent. And so right there, we have our basic backstory that I just came up with 3 cards. Now, you can see here none of the lore and skirmish encounters connected, But let's say if I had, instead of a merchant, I had this Phoenix card, you'll see how the skirmishes and skirmish, this is lore, skirmish, are aligned. And so maybe instead of seeking a merchant, I have to go seek this phoenix or seek a place where a phoenix resides and to help me defeat this serpent. And so since the skirmishes are aligned, I can pull out my skirmish table here. And you see 1 through 6, 1 through 6. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a different set of cards or a different suit. So I'm going to use this high fantasy suit, the spades, since I'm not using them. And I'm going to shuffle them and try to roll for what skirmish I might encounter. So I've got a 3 and a 5. So a 3 and a 5. So maybe as I'm going to this other village where a phoenix resides that could help me, I am given chase, number 3, by cloaked assassins. So maybe part of my backstory, or maybe part of my adventure right now, is I'm currently being chased by these cloaked assassins that maybe protect this serpent of immortality, and so that know that, oh, that me and my family is out to hunt the serpent, and so they've sent assassins to kind of rid us of our journey. And so that's a basic rundown of how you can use just even 3 cards. And if you don't like it, you can keep on drawing like I did with the Phoenix to kind of add more to my character's story. And that kind of helped me figure things out. And let's say, long story short, let's say that I keep on playing my character and I want to know if I defeated those cloaked assassins, if I gained anything from them. And I can draw from another suit. Here, let's see, this is my high fantasy. And I drew this card, it's Goblin. The boon is fortune. And so maybe it turned out that these cloaked assassins, maybe they had some gold on them that I could use and bring with me into the village and to buy some things, buy some goods. And so that's a basic rundown of how to use these cards. And now, what's really neat about this is that you can mix and match these cards too. So let's say that you're trying to have a high fantasy adventure involving kind of some elements of dark fantasy, so some hearts, and maybe involving some creatures in your world too. And so you can do the same thing. So I'll mix all of these cards up. Or I'll just randomly draw. So randomly draw blue, randomly draw a white, randomly draw a red, and let's say because I want this to be more high fantasy themed, I want another spade in there. And so let's say I'm trying to create a story, and instead of a one row, I'm going to create a 2x2 grid. So I've got Treant, Lich, Crown's Knight, and a Clairvoyant. And so again, orientation matters. As you can see, there's skirmishes here, lore could be here, and a skirmish is here. And so let's say in this new adventure, I am maybe the Crown's Knight. I am the Sword of the King. And I'm on an adventure to defeat this Lich, maybe a Lich King here. But before I do, of course, I need to kind of find out information about this Lich. And so maybe what I do is I hear of this Clairvoyant out by here, let's see. Maybe here's a good word. So here's some words here. Maybe by the Primeval Fountain. So I go to the Primeval Fountain to talk to, or to find this Clairvoyant that might kind of give me some ideas on, or just some knowledge on this Lich. And so I'm on my way from, let's say, the castle to the Primeval Fountain, and there I find this clairvoyant at a shrine, or else I could say at a hideout, since these two are connected, Fano 7. So let's say that. So there's a hideout in which this clairvoyant resides, and I'm there, and I seek this clairvoyant. And again, so lore is connected, so I'm going to use this lore table now. And since I'm not using my adventure fantasy, I'll just use this to draw cards. So I've got a 5 on the dice roll and a 6 on the dice roll. So let's say 5 is a mythical spirit of forgotten legend. And so let's say I find this clairvoyant at a hideout, and this clairvoyant is where, let's say, is this clairvoyance a he or a she, let's say. And I'm going to use the yes no oracle on my lore card here. So let's say it is a, and I drew a 8, which is yes, so he, so let's say the clairvoyant he. Let's say he has been communing with this mythical spirit of forgotten legend. And that's where this clairvoyant is gaining all this knowledge in this hideout out by the primeval fountain. And there, as we're speaking, let's see what connects both of them. We see, you see the icons are different between each suit or each theme, each sub-theme, but they're the same things. So for example, this shares the same, they both have a wand and wand here. And so maybe this clairvoyant is telling you, I can help you with the lich, but first you must find this wand, this item of magic power that can help me communicate with this mythical spirit of forgotten legend. And if you do that, then I can help you defeat this lich. And so you agree, and maybe the clairvoyant points you to this tree ant, this forest land. And so in this forest land, here's a good word, witchwood. So maybe witchwood forest land is where we go seek this tree ant that might be able to provide us this item of magic that the clairvoyant can use to commune or commune with this mythical spirit of forgotten legend in helping us defeat the lich. And so, there's so many things you can do, and just extrapolate. And maybe you have a different idea than I do, and maybe you have a different path than I do. Maybe this clairvoyant is evil, or maybe, so let's say, using this yes no oracle, I can ask, is the clairvoyant evil? And let's say I draw a 2. No. So let's say, so the clairvoyant is not evil. No, the clairvoyant's not evil. And the clairvoyant wants to help, right? Or let's say if you had a different case, let's say, is the clairvoyant evil? I have 10. So yes, the clairvoyant is evil. So maybe I might not know this, or I might not write this later down, but maybe I go find this wand or this item of power of magic, bring it to the clairvoyant, and the clairvoyant uses it to, attack me and is actually working for the lich. And so there's so many things you can do. It's all up to your imagination. Well, that's just the basics of kind of using these cards. I've also designed my own kind of like map making version, and here's a map I created by a 3x4 grid here, and designed like kind of these mountain areas. As you know, each card has kind of like a setting that you can use. So a village, a river, forest, and here I've got some forest, some rivers, some mountains, and here I kind of tracked the adventures of my characters through what they did. And so maybe in the future I might do a playthrough of this and kind of start from scratch just to give you all some ideas of how else to use these cards. And so I hope this was helpful and this provided you some ideas or just some basics on how to use these Fano Quest cards. Of course, the Fano Quest Cards guide, it's a really short, I believe, 5-page PDF that has kind of the same basic rundown, and it has a little bit more details too. But Again, feel free to use this on your solo RPG adventures or your DMing, and if you feel like this helps as a game master, power to you. Of course, I've been using this for my own solo adventures and my own curiosities and stories that I wanted to create in my head, and it's been quite the tool to use. And so I hope that it gives you what you need, and I hope you find happiness in the future and in today.